How many goats do you have right now, or done? And how many did you have 2 years ago? If the answer is almost the same, then what you have is not a goat farm. What you have is a goat hobby. And there is nothing wrong with a hobby, unless you are expecting it to pay your bills, school your children, and build something real for your future. That is when the hobby becomes a problem. Today we are going to fix that. We are going to talk about how to turn goat farming into an actual profitable business. Not theory, not motivation, real practical thinking that changes how you operate. Welcome to the channel. Before we go any further, this channel is built for serious farmers. People who want results, not just information. So, if that sounds like you, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss a video like this one. Now let me tell you something that most people in this industry will never say out loud. The reason most goat farmers stay poor is not because goats are not profitable. Goats are incredibly profitable. The reason most farmers stay poor is because they are running a farm with a village mindset in a world that rewards business thinking. And those two things are completely different. A farmer with a village mindset reacts. A farmer with a business mindset plans. A farmer with a village mindset sells when there is pressure. A farmer with a business mindset sells with strategy. You can have the same goats, the same land, the same climate, and one person builds wealth while the other barely survives. The goats are not the variable, the thinking is. So let us start from the very beginning. The moment you decide to turn goat farming into a business, everything changes. You stop managing animals and you start managing a system. And every system has inputs and outputs. Your inputs are your feed, your breeding, your healthcare, your time. Your outputs are your kids, your meat, your milk, your sales. Profit is simply what is left when your outputs are worth more than your inputs. That sounds simple, but most farmers have never sat down and actually calculated it. They do not know how much they are spending. They do not know how much they are making. They just feel like things are moving, and they hope that feeling is profit. Hope is not accounting. You need numbers. This is the first real step to building a goat business. You must know your cost of production. What does it cost you to raise one goat from birth to the point of sale? What are you spending on feed every month? What are you spending on medication, on supplements, on labor if you have any? What does your housing cost you per year? When you divide all of that by the number of goats you sell, you get your cost per animal. And once you know your cost, you know your minimum selling price. Anything below that price is not profit. It is loss, even if the money feels good in your hand. Now here is something that will shock many of you. Most goat farmers are selling at a loss, and they do not even know it. They sell a goat for a good price. They feel happy. They go home satisfied. But they forgot to count the feed they bought, the medicine they used, the time they invested. When you add all of that up, the profit margin disappears or becomes negative. That is why knowing your numbers is not optional. It is survival. Now let us talk about what actually makes goat farming profitable, because this is where we move from managing to multiplying. The foundation of profit in goat farming is herd growth. You cannot build income from a herd that is standing still. Every year, your herd must grow. If it is not growing, something is wrong. And you need to find it and fix it before it quietly kills your business. Herd growth starts with female selection. The females in your herd are your production engine. A female that gives 1 kid per year is a slow engine. A female that gives twins consistently, that raises them well, that rebounds quickly and gets pregnant again, that is the kind of engine that builds a business. When you are choosing females, you must ask questions that most farmers never ask. What is her history? How many times has she given birth? Does she usually give 1 kid or 2? Does she take care of her kids or reject them? Does she fall sick often, or is she strong? These questions matter more than how beautiful she looks or how big she is. Twins beat beauty. Fertility beats size every single time. The buck is the next conversation, and this is where I need you to pay very close attention, because this is one of the most overlooked profit levers in goat farming. 1 buck has the ability to affect the genetics of your entire herd. 1 good buck serves 30, sometimes 40 females in a year. That means the quality of that single animal shows up in dozens of kids every year. If he is strong, those kids are strong. If he is fertile and comes from a line of good breeders, your herd improves every season automatically. But if he is weak, if he comes from poor genetics, if he is infertile or slow, you will not see the damage immediately. You will see it in smaller litters, in weak kids, in slow growth rates, in fewer pregnancies. And by the time you notice, you have lost years. So when you invest in a buck, do not go cheap. Go quality. A good buck is not an expense. He is an investment that pays returns for years. And after 2 or 3 years, change him. Rotate your bucks to keep genetics fresh and performance high. Now let us talk about controlled breeding, because this is one of the things that separates small-scale keepers from real commercial farmers. In a typical village setting, goats mate whenever they want. The buck moves freely. Females get pregnant at random times. Kids are born in all seasons, sometimes during drought, sometimes during rainy season, sometimes when you are not prepared. When that happens, survival rates drop. Weak kids die. Mothers struggle. And your numbers stay low no matter how hard you try. In a business setup, you control when breeding happens. You separate your buck. You introduce him deliberately at the right time. You plan your kidding season so that when kids arrive, you have feed, you have clean housing, you have time to supervise. Planned kidding means better care. Better care means higher survival. Higher survival means faster herd growth, and faster herd growth means more profit every year. This one change alone, controlling your breeding, can transform your results within one cycle. Feeding is the engine behind everything, and I want to be very direct about this. If you believe that goats can survive on grass alone and still perform at a commercial level, you will struggle. Grass keeps goats alive. Proper nutrition makes goats perform. There is a significant difference between survival and performance. Before mating, your females need to be flushed. That means increasing the quality and quantity of their feed in the weeks before introducing the buck. When a female's body gets extra energy at the right time, it responds by releasing more eggs during ovulation. More eggs means more chances of twins. More twins means your herd doubles faster. This is not magic, it is biology, and it works every time if you do it right. During pregnancy, consistent nutrition prevents abortions. Many farmers lose kids before they even arrive, not because of disease, but because the mother was underfed at a critical time. The kids simply do not make it to delivery. That is a painful, invisible loss. Then after birth, a well-fed mother produces more milk. More milk means stronger kids. Stronger kids grow faster, reach breeding age faster, and contribute to your herd sooner. Every stage of this cycle is connected, and feed is the thread that holds it all together. Now, kidding time, this is where your business either gains or bleeds. The first hours of a kid's life are the most important. Hours of its entire existence. In those first few hours, the kid must drink colostrum, the first milk from the mother. This milk carries antibodies that protect the kid from disease. It is not replaceable. It is not optional. A kid that misses colostrum is a fragile kid. A fragile kid grows slowly, gets sick easily, and may never reach its full potential. Make it a rule on your farm. Every single kid drinks colostrum in the first 2 hours of life. Supervise it. Do not assume the mother will handle it. Some mothers reject their kids, especially first-time mothers. Be present. Be involved. In the days that follow, keep kids warm and dry. Cold and dampness are silent killers of young goats. Make sure their space is clean and protected from rain and wind. Weak kids become weak adults. And weak adults are a drain on your resources, not a contribution to your business. Let us talk about records now, because this is something that separates farmers who grow from farmers who stagnate. I know record-keeping sounds boring. I know it sounds like something for big companies with offices, but hear me clearly. If you are serious about profit, you must write things down. You need to know which female gave birth and when. You need to know how many kids she produced. You need to know which kids survived and which did not, and why. You need to track your expenses by month. You need to track your sales. Without records, you are making decisions based on feelings and memory. And both of those are unreliable. With records, you can look at a female and know in 2 minutes whether she is an asset or a liability. You can look at your feed costs and know whether you are spending too much. You can look at your kidding records and know which months produce the best results. Records make you a smarter farmer, and smarter farmers make more money. Culling is another truth that most farmers avoid because it feels harsh. But I'm going to say it plainly. Every goat on your farm must earn its place. If a female has been given enough time and opportunity to produce and she consistently fails, she does not conceive, she loses her kids, she gives only singles when others give twins, that goat is costing you. She is eating feed that a productive animal could use. She is occupying space that a better animal could fill. Keeping her because you feel sorry for her is not compassion. It is a business mistake. Culling does not mean cruelty. It means making strategic decisions about which animals stay in your herd. The goats that get removed become income. They are sold. That income buys better replacements. Your herd improves. Your costs stay the same. Your output increases. That is how commercial farming works. Now let us talk about growing your herd from within, because this is one of the cheapest and most powerful ways to scale your business. Every female kid born from one of your best mothers is a future asset. If you sell all your female kids, you stay small. Always, you must retain the best ones. Let them grow. Let them reach breeding age. Breed them to a quality buck. Now that female is producing kids of her own, kids that carry the best genetics from both sides. Do this consistently, and in a few years, your herd is not just bigger, it is better. The average quality of each animal rises every year. Productivity increases without you having to spend more money on buying stock. Selective retention is the phrase, keep the best female kids. Sell the ones that do not meet your standard, breed the strongest back into your herd. This is how serious farmers build serious herds without constantly spending money at the market. Let us now talk about something that directly affects your selling price, and that is market positioning. Many goat farmers sell however they can, boy, to whoever shows up, at whatever price is offered. That is reactive. Profitable farming is proactive. You must understand who buys goats in your area and at what time of year. Prices are highest. In many regions, prices spike during festive seasons, religious celebrations, and dry season when supply drops. If you plan your breeding so that your goats are ready for sale exactly when prices are highest, you make significantly more money from the same animals, same goat, better timing, more profit. You should also know your buyers. Butchers buy at one price. Individuals buying for ceremonies pay more, traders who resell pay less. When you have options, you negotiate better. When you have only one buyer, you accept whatever they offer. Building relationships with multiple buyers gives you leverage, and leverage is money. Housing is one area where farmers often either overspend or underspend, and both extremes hurt the business. Overcrowding is a real and serious problem. When goats are cramped together, stress rises. Stressed goats reproduce poorly. Disease spreads faster, kids get trampled, performance drops across the board. You do not need expensive housing, but you need adequate housing. Dry floors, good ventilation, enough space for each animal to move, eat, and rest without fighting for space. As your herd grows, your housing must grow with it. Do not wait until it becomes a problem. Plan ahead. Disease management must also be treated as a business function, not a reaction. Many farmers only think about medication when an animal is already sick. By then, you are already losing. In a business, prevention is always cheaper than treatment. Have a vaccination schedule, have a deworming calendar, know the common diseases in your region, and know the signs before they become emergencies. One disease outbreak in a herd of 50 goats can set you back by years in a matter of days. Protect what you have built. Now, I want to talk about profit reinvestment because this is the habit that determines whether your goat business becomes generational or stays temporary. When income comes in from goat sales, the temptation is to use it all, improve the house, buy things, take care of immediate needs, and yes, there must be balance. But if every single sale is consumed, your farm never grows. You must decide from the beginning. A portion of every sale goes back into the business. Maybe it buys a better buck. Maybe it improves the housing. Maybe it pays for better feed during pregnancy season. Every reinvestment makes the next cycle more productive. Every productive cycle generates more income. This is the compounding effect of farming, and it is as real and as powerful as any investment you will ever make. Lastly, I need to speak to your mindset, because everything we have discussed today is completely useless if your thinking does not change first. Commercial goat farming is not fast. It does not make you rich overnight. It rewards discipline, patience, and consistency over months and years. There will be setbacks, goats will die, markets will disappoint, seasons will be difficult, but the farmer who stays calm, keeps records, keeps improving, and keeps reinvesting, that farmer will look up one day and realize they have built something remarkable. Think about the numbers slowly. You start with 10 goats. Your herd grows by 30% every year because you're managing it well. In 5 years, that 10 becomes close to 40. In 8 years, it can cross 100. And 100 well-managed, productive goats is a serious, life-changing business. This is not a dream. This is arithmetic. The math works if you work the system. The farmers who win in this industry are not always the smartest. They are not always the richest at the start. They are the ones who treated their goats like a business from day one. They are the ones who protected their females, invested in good genetics, controlled their breeding, kept their records, and reinvested their profits. Those are the ones who are now building houses, sending children to university, and expanding into larger operation, all from goats. You can be that farmer. The information is here. The decision is yours. If this video opened your eyes today, if it gave you even one thing you are going to apply on your farm this week, I want you to do something for me. Don't just like this video and scroll away. Share it. Send it to a farmer you know, because somebody out there is making the same mistakes we talked about today, and this video might be the turning point they need. The more we share real knowledge, the stronger our farming communities become. See you in the next one.